Hi everyone, so welcome to today's video. Thanks for joining me. Today I am trying out a new foundation. So I'm going to talk you through the agenda of what I'm going to do with my makeup today and kind of what prompted this type of video. I recently talked about rediscovering a concealer that I had in my collection, and I found it through my decluttering process, my spring cleaning in my makeup routine, and in my makeup drawers, just kind of changing some things up and just starting some fresh routines and new products. So I discovered this concealer just kind of sitting in the drawer, collecting dust, decided to try it, fell in love with it, and it prompted me to purchase the foundation that matches and goes with the concealer. So the concealer that I'm talking about is the Clinique Even Better. I've talked about this in my last few recent videos. The shade that I have in this concealer is WN01 Flax. Now the foundation, let's talk about the packaging. Look how cute this bottle is. I like the packaging. I like how it's a glass bottle. It's different in shape. It stands out in my collection, and I like that. It's kind of the same thing that I enjoyed about the Polite Society foundation, the More Than a Pretty Face. The egg shape makes it different. So it's a fun little detail, but the foundation is the Even Better Clinical Serum Foundation with an SPF 25. Now, this may look a little dark, and you'd be right, okay? I think I match myself so wrong. So the shade WN01 Flax is the lightest shade in the concealer and the foundation, but this would be too light for my entire face. For concealer, light, bright, coverage, great, love it. But for the foundation, I wanted to go up a shade. So this is the lightest, and this is the next shade up. This is WN04 Bone. So I will list the shades down below and link them for you in case you want to check this out for yourself. The shade in between these two is a CN, which is a cool neutral. So I don't purchase any cool tone foundations. I personally like a neutral foundation or something with a little bit more of a golden tone, a little bit of yellow, but I don't like anything that has a pink undertone. So I found the matching to be a little bit challenging with the foundation. But this could look dark in the bottle and apply and be fine. It could be too dark, and it could also oxidize, making it even darker. So it potentially could be completely wrong. I have not tried it. I have not even swatched it. We're doing it all on camera today. Super authentic and real, just turning the camera on and going for it. The concealer I love, and I do like the coverage and the finish. So I'm interested to see how these two will play together. And I'm going to use a few of my favorite products, kind of sprinkle in some new things. Another new product is the Maybelline Build-A-Brow. I picked this up recently when I went to Target, and I want to try this and see what this is like. I picked up the shade called Ash Brown. Although this does look like it could be kind of dark for an ash brown, but we'll see. That's why I have nothing on my face, nothing on my brows. The only thing I'm wearing is the Moisture Plumping Lip Serum from Makeup by Mario in Pink Glow, which is going to prep and hydrate my lips for the lip combo. So the look today is going to be more complexion based, and the eyes are going to be pretty simple, maybe a one shadow look, a little mascara, keeping it easy on the eyes, but it's mostly on focusing on the face. So I'm going to start with my go-to primer that I use with a lot of my foundations. It's a Pore Diffusing Primer from Rare Beauty. I feel like this works pretty consistent with any single foundation, any coverage, any finish, and it just kind of smooths the skin, preps it, goes over the pores and blurs them a bit. So they're a little less obvious. And I did my normal skincare routine, nothing special. I did change up my eye cream, but I don't feel like that's going to change the foundation on my face because I don't put foundation under my eyes that much. So I feel like that was okay for me to switch up and try something different today for eye cream. But the skincare is my normal go-to. So I would like to see how this works with my favorite primers, concealers, powders, skincare, all the things that I use. I want to see how this is going to work because it sounds like it would be a really nice foundation and really nice coverage, finish, all good things so far. Giving it a good shake, and I hear a little something rattling. I hope the pump is not broken. It says to shake on the back. It's a 100% fragrance-free formula, which is great. Thumbs up there. Weightless, buildable, full coverage. And it's supposed to have a more satin-like finish with a lot of skincare benefits. So I feel like it's sort of checking off a lot of my boxes. I do like skincare-infused makeup. I've talked about enjoying that quality. It's not a must-have, but it's nice to have. So we're going to shake it up. I'm going to dispense this onto my makeup palette that I recently cleaned off and use my BK Beauty 101 foundation brush to apply it. I also have my beauty blender dampened and ready to go in case I decide to use the sponge for application and blending, but I'm gonna start with the brush. Gotta work that pump, get it started for the first time. I'm going to do 2 pumps just because that first one, I didn't feel like I got enough, but that is what the product looks like. And if I tilt my palette a little bit, you can see that it's a little bit on the thicker side. It's not dripping down, so it's not as watery and thin as I thought. It's a little bit thicker, which is fine. I'm taking some of that product and I'm working it into my brush, working on the larger side of my palette. And it does look kind of dark and I'm scared. So we're just gonna do it. Yeah, this is definitely dark. So I'm gonna just kind of stipple this on. Yep, there's no real scent to it. I was not expecting a fragrance because it says fragrance free, but I sometimes, even if it's fragrance free, it does have kind of like a weird scent, but it doesn't. It smells like nothing. So I'm gonna just do half my face so we can assess this foundation coverage color. I'm going in for a little bit more. I tell you, sometimes I get it right and sometimes I just get it completely wrong. I just wish the Clinique website had better photos and better ways to match than what's available currently, because I just feel like I got it wrong. Comparing Clinique website, comparing it to Sephora website, and any website that carried and sells this foundation or Clinique products, I just feel like it's just not really good right now. This is the half with the foundation, and then this is the half with nothing, and it does have really nice coverage, and I would say it's pretty close to full coverage. I do see a little bit of my scarring coming through, but that's just from old acne. And that is visible with any foundation because it's actually like more of a deep kind of pitted scar there. And I have one on this side as well. But the color is obviously not right. I definitely need something a little lighter. I like the coverage. It's more of a satin kind of finish, so I do like that. I do feel like it's clinging and not blending at all through the nose, like around here and the side of my nose. So I don't really like that. So I'm going to go with my damp sponge and just kind of push this into the skin and just kind of see what that's like. And maybe I'll do the sponge method on this side to see if there's a difference, but I just feel like, I think it's just throwing me for a loop because the shade is off, that could be a contributing factor to me not being impressed so far. I'm gonna take the underside of my Beauty Blender and I'm going to use that as my application method on this half of my face and see what the coverage is like with that. Going for a little bit more. So I already can tell you that I much prefer the side with the Beauty Blender application. It blended much, much better around the nose, and here with the brush, it's completely clinging and it looks super dry. I'm not faulting the brush because that's one of my favorite brushes for blending in foundation. I think this foundation works best with a damp beauty sponge. I'm going to just wear it for the day and just see how it wears because it could change my mind and I may order the lighter shade to mix the two. I may exchange it possibly for the light shade or go see it in person. I think that's probably what I should have done since I had a little bit of an issue deciding on the website what shade and kind of deciding with Sephora as well. I should have just gone in person. I could have avoided having a dark foundation. But I'm going to scale back on bronzer. And maybe once I apply everything else and it kind of settles, it may be fine. So we're just going to keep pushing forward and overlooking the fact that I feel like I just put on a really dark foundation. Moving into the concealer, I love this concealer. And you see the difference between the WN01 Flax and then the next WN shade, which is Bone, the color of the foundation. I feel like it's just too much of a jump. Like there should be something in between, right? Not just a cool tone, something in between the warm tones. I feel like they need to, I think they could have done better with that. So I'm going to use the pointed side of my sponge and blend this out. And that blended in like a dream, and it is such a beautiful coverage finish, and it looks really, really nice under the eyes. I like this concealer so, so much. So I'm setting my under eyes with the Pat McGrath Under Eye Sublime Setting Powder. And I have the shade Light, and I use my sponge, kind of just swirling it in there and picking up the product and blending it in. It's a beautiful powder. It also works great with a brush, and I like to use the Real Technique setting brush. If I'm going to use a brush for powder, that's the one that I like, but it just kind of sets and blurs, and I think it's beautiful with every single concealer that I use. Love this so much. Switching gears, we're moving into brows. This is the next new product in the lineup today. This is the Maybelline Build-A-Brow. I have wanted to try this. I saw a display at Target. There was a couple shades, the really dark shade, ash brown, and then some of the blonde shades. So I thought the display looks kind of empty and a little bit picked over, so maybe it's a good product. I do enjoy using brow pens. My favorite one is the Lift and Snatch from NYX. I wear the shade Brunette. I'm going to list it and link it for you down below. I have a backup. I love that. So I don't know if anything can really make me change from that or replace that, but this could very well be it. I don't know. And it's automatically different because it comes with a clear gel on the opposite end where the NYX doesn't. And honestly, most brow tint pens don't give you a gel or any sort of setting product on the opposite end. So that's a nice little feature there. And it's nice to see that a drugstore brand is doing that. So I hope that this is gonna work. I hope that the shade Ash Brown, which the cap looks quite dark, will work because I almost purchased the brunette online, or I think it's like dark brown, and I thought maybe not. I'm glad I went a little lighter, and let's hope I did a better job at matching for brows than I did for my face. With the NYX, I tend to use that to fill in little sparse areas after I do a brow pencil, or maybe do that first and then a pencil. I'm gonna try to use just this product and see how far that takes me and what look it gives me. So the brow is not completely filled in. I do feel like I personally need a little bit more. So I'll continue sort of perfecting this, but this is kind of almost completely filled in. And I do think the shade works with my natural grown in roots, and I think it'll work well when I dye my hair and have those fresh red tones. I think it'll be fine. And I think the ashiness of it leans a little bit more cool, which works. Sometimes brunettes and dark browns can have a kind of warm reddish undertone, and sometimes that can throw off the look of the brows. So having that ashy tone, I think, works. This is a very soft, kind of natural look. This is all I have on. Just kind of flicking it through and creating a full brow effect. And I do think that it's soft and light, almost as if I naturally had just a full brow with just no product in it, which is nice. And I think it's because the consistency is very thin and kind of watery, and it just lays down a thin, light amount of product, and it's not a very heavily pigmented product. I mean, you can go over it and kind of build the pigment there, but initially it's just thin and light amounts, which I think works. So I'm going to continue working this through the brows, fixing the shape, do the other brow, and then I'll meet you back so you can see the final result. Time for the sealing gel, and I hope that this actually has some hold. I like the small little spoolie. That's really nice, and I like the fact that it's included. And I'm going to just comb the front upwards so it kind of creates a more full effect, and then I'm going to use the side of the spoolie to comb these over and down a little bit. Workable. I think I'm going to still use this like I do with my NYX Lift and Snatch. I'm going to start with a brow pencil or even a powder or pomade, whatever I choose for the day. Mostly it's pencils, and then use this to fill in the sparse areas where I'm missing an actual hair to continue giving me a more cohesive shape to the brow, because this is all I use today, and it took me quite some time to fill it in, and I did a full brow with it. I don't have the brows, like the hair and the shape, to do nothing and just clear gel and that's it. I do need to work on the shape because they're not it. So I do take a lot of time to do my brows, and it's my least favorite part of my makeup routine. So I am still on the hunt for a product that just makes it completely seamless, quick, and easy. I do really like my Lawless brow pencil. I'm going to link it for you down below. I'm going to get one from Sephora during the sale. I need to restock that. Have you tried? Let me know what your thoughts are on the Build-A-Brow. I'm a bronzer girl. I like to use bronzer. Every time I do my makeup, I always use bronzer, and I have various different shades and finishes and formulas. I want to use a powder formula, and I want it to be a light shade. So I went through my drawer looking at all my bronzers and what's the lightest, most fairest tone that I have, and I landed on the Airbrush bronzer from Charlotte Tilbury in the shade 1 Fair. I love this formula. I don't use it as often because the fair tone is quite light, and I do think that it's something that I could use like during the winter months when I'm a little bit more pale. And I feel like because this foundation is a little dark, I probably should skip bronzer, but I just kind of feel odd not including it because I do it every day. Like, it's just weird. I feel like I would be missing something in my routine, right? So here's what the 1 Fair looks like. It's very light. So a little dusting. We're just gonna go very, very softly with this, and I'm not even gonna do anything intense. I'm gonna pick up the fluffiest, lightest, airiest brush that I have, and it's this one from the Morphe and Ariel brush collection. This brush looks like a crease brush, but it is kind of wispy. The bristles are loose, they're not densely packed, and it's got a lot of give, so it'll kind of create a subtle wash of color. And I feel like it's just out of habit. It kind of satisfies that bronzer need for my routine because I feel like I'd be missing something if I didn't use it. So we're gonna just do a little bit, like ever so slightly. You may not even see this, okay, with this foundation being so dark. But I want to see how bronzers and other products blend over the foundation, so I'm gonna do it for the sake of research. I'm gonna use a little bit of this bronzer with the same brush and use that through the crease. I'm gonna just pinch the brush and just warm up my lids a little bit because they do seem quite light compared to the rest of my face since I don't put foundation on my eyelids. Wow, I really did it this time, didn't I, guys? I want to use the Polite Society Polite Pops again. I did a video on this a few weeks ago. I reviewed this when it launched, and the foundation. They're adorable. I love these. It's a matte cream blush that it's supposed to be a powder, but in a cream finish or a cream style. Very unique, very different. So I bought 2 when they launched. I have the Paris shade, which is more pink, and the Sydney, which is a little bit more of a warm terracotta. So we're not doing anything warm today, okay? We're gonna go with some pink, cool tones. Let's balance this out a little bit. I'm gonna use the Paris shade, which looks like this. And I like to work these on the back of my hand and then use a brush. It's kind of silky, matte, but goes on like a cream, sets and wears like a powder. Very interesting. If you haven't tried it, I would recommend them. And they're so adorable. Love those so much. And I'm going to use an angled brush. This is my Sephora 93 brush. I'm going to wipe it off from yesterday and just work that into the brush and just apply a little bit of that to add a little bit of a flush to the skin. Do you see how pretty that color is? I love this formula. It's so different, and it's not dewy and radiant like most cream blushes are. And it works well with any foundation that I use, regardless of the finish. It just looks so blurring and smooth on the skin. And I'm going to take just a little bit of what's left on my brush and go through my upper lid area and crease just a little bit and blending it into my blush. Again, because I'm not doing a lot of eyeshadow today, I just want to create something just easy. And then I'm going to use my sponge and just kind of press and make sure that everything is nice and blended. I'm going to do a little bit of highlighter, going old school, MAC Soft and Gentle. That's where it's at. Love this so much. It's an OG. It's a classic. It's timeless. It's the perfect highlighter. I'm going to take a little bit of the highlighter as well, and I'm just going to sweep it right over my lids. I do have the MAC Painterly Paint Pot on as well. I did that off camera. That is the primer that I always use for eyeshadow, and I'm just going to use the same highlighter brush, which is another Morphe and Ariel brush, and just apply some of the highlight right across just to create a sheer kind of shimmer and sheen to the skin because I'm keeping everything light around the eyes today. And here is the full face, eyes and lips completed. So you can see what everything looks like together. And what do we think? Now that everything has been settled, foundation has been on for a while, I've set my under eyes, added bronzer, blush, highlight, all of those complexion-based products. What do you think? Do you still feel like what you're seeing on camera, it looks kind of dark, or should I keep it and still use it and make it work? I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence. I feel like it's still just a pinch dark, but maybe if I used a little bit of a lighter concealer, like in the center of my forehead, through the chin, down the nose, maybe kind of create a more brighter, lighter inner part of my face, that it kind of balances out the darkness on the parameters. I don't know. I'm just kind of thinking out loud, but you let me know in the comments what you think of the color and what you think of the look so far. Let me talk you through what I did for the eyes. I told you I was keeping it pretty simple today. I was going to do a one shadow look, but then I opted to just do eyeliner. And I decided to try the Revlon Multiplayer Liquid Glide Eye Pencil again. I've been using this on and off, just testing it out. The formula is rich, pigmented, creamy, glides on with minimal amount of pressure. I do find that if I tight line and get too much into the inner corner, it does kind of transfer down. So when I do use this for tight lining, I kind of go for where the color part of my eye starts outwards, and I don't use it on my lower waterline because it does move around. I decided to kind of skip tight lining in the inner part to prevent that from happening today. I just did a line and then I smudged it with a brush, and that's all I did for eyeliner. And of course we have a little wash of bronzer and highlight that we did earlier. And the mascara is the Cleantopia mascara from CoverGirl. I've been testing this out for about 2 weeks now. So it's a fairly new product, just like the eyeliner. These are fairly new releases for the drugstore brands. At least the Revlon is more new. This has been out for probably several months, maybe even a year at this point, but it's new to me. And it's part of the Lash Blast line of mascaras. I like the tube, love this color, but I just feel like the mascara is starting to get a little bit clumpy at the 2-week mark. And I'm also experiencing a little bit more of a drop in the way my lashes look. It doesn't stay lifted like the L'Oreal Telescopic Lift Mascara or any of the other drugstore brand mascaras, the Paradise, Lash Paradise from L'Oreal. My high-end mascaras, I don't have this issue. I just feel like this is kind of starting to look like it's weighing my lashes down. And I don't like the end result. I like a little bit more drama, a little bit more volume and length. So this is slightly more natural and slightly a little bit more clumpy. So I'm just not digging this. I wouldn't recommend it, and I wouldn't repurchase it. So I would say this is a pass from the drugstore. Now for lips, I did a 2-step combo from Lawless. I started with the Forget the Filler liner. This is the shade called Pink Sand. So I lined and I filled entirely with this pencil, and I did have the Moisture Plumping Lip Serum, just a little bit of residual left as I've been filming. That's been just kind of sitting on the lips, softening the lips. So that is part of the shine that you're seeing. But I also decided to use the Forget the Filler Plumping Gloss from Lawless, and this is a mini of the shade Rosy Outlook. And I used a lip brush to apply this all over the lips. And I like this formula of gloss. It has a subtle kind of cooling sensation. It's not painful, it doesn't sting, it doesn't burn. So it's a very comfortable, at least in my opinion, type of plumper. I like how it's thick and kind of fills in the lines of the lips, make the lips look fuller and juicier because of the shine on the gloss, and just how it sits comfortably on the lips. So I do like this. I think that this is pretty much clear. Even though there's a subtle kind of hint of color, it's very, very sheer, very transparent, so it goes on and looks clear. So it's perfect to layer over any lip liner, lipsticks, or mix it with other glosses. I like having a kind of clear, more transparent gloss in my collection, so I do like that. And that is it. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for being here and for watching, spending some time with me today. I am going to try this foundation out again tomorrow. Let's maybe aim for some more cream-based products just to see how this works. If you've tried this foundation, please let me know. If you feel comfortable sharing your experience, please let me know. I would love to hear from you, what you guys think of it. Have you been eyeing this foundation? Have you heard good things? Do you know anybody that's used it? Share some feedback and help me out here. I don't know if I should return it, exchange it, try something lighter. I don't know. I'm still kind of on the fence, but I will try it again. I will say I will give it another shot and see how that turns out. So that's it. Thanks for spending some of your day here with me. Don't forget to subscribe. You can also follow me on Instagram. My username always pops up here on the screen. We can be friends there and connect there. I hope to see you there. Maybe my next video. Take care, you guys, and we'll talk very soon. Bye-bye.